All right, we are now live. What's going on, everybody? So I'm joined here with Proextinction. He's an extinctionist, and we're going to debate whether or not pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth, and that basically relates directly to the topic of moral realism or nihilism. So why don't you give your kind of opening statement and argument?
Okay, so my name is Steve, and I'm the admin of Proextinction page. So basically, extinctionism is a social justice movement. So what it is trying to achieve is that extinction of all sentient beings, that is conscious living beings. So the thing is that this world that we live in, it has a kind of a sadistic design. Like a lion has to hunt a zebra. Either the zebra suffers and dies, or the lion suffers and dies. So this is the kind of the world we live in. So suffering is uh, inevitable, right? And if you think about it, if you don't exist at all, you don't have to experience these kinds of intense suffering. For example, predation, natural disasters, rape, crime, abuse, etc., etc. So basically, we think that non-existence is better for all, and suffering needs to be stopped. And we apply this. So we are basically anti-species, sentientists. So we apply this not only to humans but also to all conscious living beings who have the ability to feel suffering. So suffering is the basis of our ethics, right? So we follow something called as suffering focused ethics. So last time, I think it was an interview with the militant vegan, I guess so. So you said that okay. So if you value suffering over pleasure, um, Euphemism is right. If you value pleasure over suffering, then you can go for some deontology or something, right? So uh, this is what I want to understand. Like, how can suffering? Uh, how can you say that we can value pleasure over suffering?
Okay, well, the debate topic was about whether or not pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth.
Exactly. So your
So,
point was, yeah. So your point was, if you think from a suffering point of view, Euphemism was right. And if you think from pleasure point of view, this is right. How can both be right? That's what I'm asking.
okay, you're just asking me that personally?
No, no. So the thing is, you are saying that whatever morality we have, it's fine, right? So what are you saying?
I'm saying there's no objective basis for which to argue moral claims.
Okay.
Right, so when you ask me about my own personal ethical beliefs, I don't know how that relates to your claim that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth. You'd be able to prove that without asking me any questions.
No, I don't understand. So without asking any questions.
Yeah, you're claiming that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth. If it's an
Okay.
objective moral truth, you would be able to prove that using like again some sort of descriptive evidence. If you're going to ask me normative questions about my own ethical values, I don't know how that relates to the claim.
No. What I am asking you is, you are claiming that morality is subjective, right?
Yeah.
So anybody so if I feel that okay, abusing animals is fine, it's fine.
Yeah, to that individual person.
Yeah. So that's your point, right? So if I feel that okay, my pleasure that I get through the taste of eating meat, if I think that it's more valuable than a chicken's life, then I can eat meat. Is what you're arguing, right?
Anybody can have their own personal preferences, and they're just as valid as any other.
Okay, so
So
anybody can.
if I were to disagree with somebody's set of moral preferences, I would
Okay,
attack it by making some sort of internal critique of their own moral system, by pointing out that they're hypocrites, that they don't
okay,
actually believe some of these positions. But again, the claim you're making is that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth. So
okay,
prove that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth.
okay. So you basically your ethics is based on hypocrisy. So if I kill a human and then kill an animal, then I'm consistent. So it's fine, right? So it's fine to do so.
Like, I don't personally think that, but what does this have to
Okay.
do with the claim that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth?
So no, I'm just trying to know your ideology. That's it. I'm just trying to ask the question so that I can understand you better. It's as simple as
Well, it doesn't matter what I think. What you're claiming is that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth. If it's an
that.
objective
Okay.
moral truth, you don't need to know anything that I believe. You'll be able to prove this with some set of descriptive facts.
So okay, are you asking like okay, what I am saying like that is extinctionism? You're asking facts for it, right? So okay, my as I told you, like suffering
No,
is the
no,
basis of
no,
ethics.
no, no.
Hmm.
Um, pro-extinctionism is a moral preference. The claim you're
Okay.
making is that that moral preference is objective. So that
Okay.
means there is a moral truth that exists outside the mind that proves pro-extinctionism is morally correct. Objectively
Okay.
speaking, this is true with or without the presence of a mind. If that's the
Okay.
case, you will be able to prove that using purely descriptive facts about reality that are not
Okay.
related to your own personal preferences.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So, purely descriptive facts about reality. So, if you go for it, suffering exists, right? So that is a fact, and all suffering, whether it happens to a human or a black person or a woman or an animal, all kinds of suffering is bad. It's negative, right?
Okay, so
And
I'll disagree with that premise because,
okay.
again,
Hmm.
the idea that it's bad is subjective.
Okay. So basically, what you are saying is that if a little girl is raped, then the idea that that event is bad is subjective.
That's correct.
I mean,
So,
so
can
so
you
basically, what you are saying is
can you prove that rape is bad using only purely subjective facts? Or sorry, objective facts. I don't know if I accidentally said subjective, but yeah. Look, I'll help you to formalize an argument. So,
okay.
you're if you wanted to create a formalized syllogism, there's going to have to be at least two premises which support each other that lead to a conclusion.
Let me ask you a question. Do I need to know all these syllogisms to all these words that you are saying to say that raping a girl is bad. So do I need to learn this to argue with you that raping a girl is bad?
Well,
Is that what
you're
you're saying?
going to have to if you want to prove it is objectively true.
Okay.
So you can think
So
anything you want.
no,
You can think
let, let me
pineapple on
let,
pizza
let,
is delicious.
let me understand your point of view. So if you are saying that if somebody says that okay, I'll rape a girl because that is my ethics, so you are saying that it's fine.
To that
So
individual,
so
yes.
this is not objectively bad. That's what you're saying. Like rape, that event is not objectively bad. Like anybody can have any opinion. So okay, let me put it this way. Like if somebody stabs you, right? If I stab you, so will you be like, okay, this guy is stabbing me, probably he has a different kind of ethics, I'll accept that.
Well, yes. Um,
Yes.
everybody has their
I,
own preferences when it
then
comes
I
to
think
ethical claims.
then I think this debate is over. You are just some kind of nut.
Then make an argument.
If you say yes, so if you are like, okay, if somebody experiments on me, it's fine. Somebody stabs me, it's fine. If somebody rapes me, it's fine. You're some kind of psycho, right?
That's not the argument I'm making. The argument I'm making is there's no objective basis to argue moral
Okay.
claims. You're claiming it
I
is.
don't need to know I don't need to know these words, objective, subjective,
You do.
everything, to say an absolute fact that raping a woman is bad. I don't need to know that.
Yes, you do.
All these philosophers who are dissecting an event, a negative event, an intense suffering like rape, they are the ones who deserve the most suffering. That's what I would say. Like, so this is
Then
this is
make an
like
argument.
is what I'm saying. Like, if I rape a woman, it's bad. It's as simple as that.
Can
I,
you
I, I don't think
prove
I don't think there is a I don't think there is a subjective objective anything. That event is a negative event that is occurring, and that is bad. It needs to be stopped. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, so the debate which you agreed upon was to argue whether or not moral claims are objectively true, particularly the
Okay.
idea that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral
It is
truth.
it is objectively true. It's as simple as
If
that. You
you're
rape a
going to
woman,
claim, so if you're going to claim
it's
it,
a negative event.
yeah, so if you're going to claim it's objectively
So
true, you're going to have to make an argument for that.
it's as simple as that. A sentient being is suffering.
Yes,
Okay, that
that's
suffering is happening, a negative event is happening. The
right.
sentient being wants to
So,
avoid the suffering, so it's bad. It's as simple as that. So
yeah,
you are talking probably because you think that you will never be in that position. But would you, if you are in a lab, if you are getting experimented on, if you are being raped by someone, if you are being beaten by someone, won't you ask, if I'm walking by on the road, won't you ask me for help? So it's
so,
bad, right? Something bad is happening to you. It's as
so
simple as that.
I'm going to do the best job I can to help you actually structure an argument. So
Mhm.
far, the only thing you have said is that sentient beings suffer. So that
No,
is.
I think there is no argument over here. I think most people would agree that okay, rape is bad. It's as simple as that. The
I
thing is
don't
finished.
care if most people agree. The debate to which
Okay,
you agreed
you
upon
don't
was
care.
whether or not moral claims are objectively true,
Okay,
particularly pertaining to extinctionism. So, if you're
okay,
going to make the claim that moral claims are objectively true, you're going to have to make an argument for that. So far, you
okay.
haven't made an argument, you've only made a series of statements. So, if you
No,
want to prove that moral
bad.
statements are objectively true, you're going to have to cross the is-ought gap, meaning you're going to
No,
have to formulate an argument that has purely descriptive premises that logically lead to a normative conclusion. So far, you've only
purely
made one
descriptive
premise that
premises that
sentient beings
logically
suffer.
lead to the conclusion that stabbing vegan gains is bad. Is that what you're saying? Like,
No, what I'm saying is make an
I
argument.
can't. So I can't understand it because bad is a word. It's a descriptive words, right? So if I stab you, right?
Bad is not a descriptive word.
What
Bad is a
the pain
normative
that you are
claim.
experiencing, the pain that you are experiencing, it's undesirable. You don't want it. You want to avoid it. So bad is a word. So I'm saying that stabbing vegan gains is bad. It's as simple as that. I'm just saying that. So basically, you're a vegan activist, right? So what do you tell people like, to not kill animals? Like,
Well, I make an argument from my own sort of
because
preferences.
if you talk about subjectivity and objectivity, these kind of syllogisms, I think
You're the one
people would
making a
run away from
claim.
here.
You're the one who's made the claim.
Okay.
Do you think if you make a claim, you don't have to provide evidence
No,
for your
I think,
claim?
no, I've told you like raping a woman is bad. It's as simple as that. Suffering is
That's
bad.
not an argument.
Everybody knows it, and uh, I don't know like why I have to prove that raping a woman is bad.
Okay, so if I were to tell you pineapple on pizza is bad, and then you said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well,
You're seriously comparing
can
pineapple on
you.
a pizza, preferring pineapple on a pizza. Pizza doesn't feel pain. It's not a sentient being. You are comparing it
Well,
with a woman.
someone who eats the
You're seriously
pizza
wrong.
might be feeling pain. So if I were to make the
Okay.
claim that eating
If
pineapple on pizza is objectively bad, and you said, okay, well, what's your argument?
if pizza feels pain, it's bad.
No,
Pizza
so,
doesn't feel pain.
well, the point
This is
is,
just it's very
wait, can you
disgusting to
stop cutting me
compare.
off? Can you stop cutting me
Yeah,
off?
fine.
So, if somebody eats a pizza, they have the potential to feel pain or pleasure based on whether or not the food tastes good. So, if I said eating pineapple on pizza is objectively bad because the taste of pineapple on pizza is objectively bad, and everybody who eats it will feel pain, and then
Okay,
you ask me, okay, well, what's the argument for
okay.
pineapple on pizza
So,
being objectively bad? And I just
yes, so
say,
you are
well, it's pineapple on
comparing. No,
pizza.
no, no.
That's
You
not an
are
argument.
playing. No, you are playing. Basically, you are playing with English vocabulary, right? So pineapple on pizza is like if you don't like the taste, it is like the quality bad. You don't like the taste. Okay. So the event that is happening, something like rape, right? It's an event based on suffering. You cannot seriously compare a pineapple on a pizza, which you don't like, which is a personal preference, to victimizing someone, right? Making someone a victim, or
Yeah, that's also a personal preference.
not making someone a victim, like someone is suffering, someone is a victim of suffering, right? So you seriously cannot compare both the events,
Right, so
right?
that is still a
It
personal
doesn't make any
preference.
logic. Like,
Yeah, so
see,
that is still a personal preference.
what?
That would still be a personal
Yeah,
preference.
it's not a personal preference.
Yes, it is.
Suffering is not suffering is not a personal preference. You have to understand the difference between pain and suffering, right? Suffering is something that you always want to avoid.
So, pain and suffering are descriptive events that are describing whether or not a sentient being wants to be in a particular situation. We can objectively say certain types of stimuli are objectively painful sensations to a sentient being.
Okay.
There, however, is no objective basis for which you can say pain is bad. That's a normative claim. And normative claims are based on preferences.
Okay.
So, again, I'm asking you, and I can help you formalize an argument in support of this. What is
No,
the objective basis in
no,
which you can
let,
say moral claims are objectively true?
no, let me uh, ask you one thing. So you are saying that a pineapple pizza, which I don't like, is like you are comparing it to an event like rape. Am I right? You're saying that, okay, this is a personal preference, that is also a personal preference. Do you think that this is like even a little bit logical? Because you are comparing a pineapple pizza, someone not liking a pineapple pizza, to a woman getting raped, an animal getting
They're
raped.
both based on preferences, so there's
They
no
are both
difference.
based on preferences. Okay. So do you think that this woman prefers to get raped?
No, and there's some people who prefer not to eat pineapple
Because it's
pizza.
rape, right? That's the definition, right? So I prefer to eat another pizza. That is another thing. But this is like happening without consent. So you cannot compare both of these things. I don't think so.
So there's consequences to any action. One consequence to eating pineapple on pizza is that you may or may not like pineapple on pizza. A
Okay.
consequence to getting raped is that you may or may not like getting raped. Um,
Oh,
so I don't
bro,
see.
bro. Stop it, stop it. So the thing is, the definition of rape is that it happens without consent.
Right, and after getting raped, you may or may not care that you got raped.
I may or may
It's
not care.
unusual. It's
Again, I care about my consent. That's why I am getting raped. Like I care. I don't want to be there. That's why
So
I'm getting
there
raped.
are people who are not particularly concerned with their own bodily autonomy. Depending on who rapes you, you may not care. Like if your husband has sex with you while you're sleeping, you might not really care about that. But if a homeless guy has sex with you while you're sleeping, that might be something you care about. Um, I would say it's
Again,
almost always the
you just
case
went
that
from
people don't want to be
you
raped,
just
but the point
you
is
lost
these
the
are just
definition.
preferences.
You lost the definition of rape. Okay, let me give you another example. Like, what about starvation?
Okay, what
What
about
about
it?
thirst? What about getting tortured? Like, okay, fine. That's why. Okay, let me make one thing clear. So I told you the difference between pain and suffering, right? So suffering, you don't want it. So let's say that you are into BDSM, right? So you like a little bit of pain, and that's not what I'm talking about. So there is a difference between
Yeah,
pain
that's
and
fine.
suffering,
Yeah, that's
and
fine. We
you just compared not preferring a pineapple pizza makes rape a preference. Whether raping someone getting raped or not, whether someone is starving or not, whether someone is suffering or not, that is like a personal preference. So let me ask you this question: if you are in that position, if you are being experimented upon, if you are being raped, and if I walk by you on the road and I am like, it's my personal preference not to help you. So let's say that you're starving on the road and you're like begging me for a food, and I have extra bread in my hand and you are like asking me for help, and I'm like, bro, it's a personal preference. You just die. I think that is the definition of bad, which I just described now. I don't know what is subjective and objective, because that is the definition of bad, because we are talking in English, I guess.
So you're defining bad as suffering.
Yeah, I would say that all bad. I'm not talking about the quality bad, whatever you said, pineapple pizza or whatever. I'm talking about a negative event. Suffering is the only negative event in this world.
What
There isn't a single negative thing in this world that isn't suffering that you would say as bad. If somebody is starving, it's because of suffering, it's bad. If somebody is getting raped, it's because of suffering, it's bad. So
okay,
everything comes back to suffering.
okay,
Every bad thing in this world comes back to suffering.
right. So I'm just wondering if you're claiming bad is just a descriptive term or if it's a normative term. Because it sounds like you're using it in two different senses. Is bad just a
So
descriptive term to define?
let me tell you, I don't know what is the difference between descriptive and normative.
So a descriptive claim is something that describes a thing, a qualia, A normative claim is something that describes a preference to something. So if I said suffering equates to bad, then bad would just be a description of a thing called suffering. If I were to say suffering uh, is something that is bad, that is a normative claim that's describing a preference. So there's a difference between saying bad is uh, is the same as suffering, where bad is just another word for suffering. That's a descriptive claim.
Yeah, I'm not
But if
saying.
I were to say suffering is bad, that is a normative claim where suffering is something that I have a preference against. So I'm just asking, like, in what sense are you using the term bad? Are you just using it as a descriptive term to be like an interchangeable term with suffering? Or are you making a normative claim that suffering is something of which is bad?
Okay, so I am saying that um, all bad things in this world that we consider as bad, be it starvation or everything, it comes back to suffering. It's as simple as that. And I'm not talking about the quality bad. So I'm describing suffering as something that is bad, and I'm saying all bad things in this world are suffering. All evil things, all undesirable things that shouldn't be happening is suffering.
Right. So that doesn't really answer my question. Are you saying bad is an interchangeable term for suffering? So if I were to say um, all animals
No,
experience, wait, wait, wait,
that's
wait,
not
wait.
what I'm. No,
So
that's
wait,
not what
wait,
I'm
wait, wait,
saying.
wait. Let me
I
just
just
wait. Let me
yeah.
finish. So
Mm.
if you're so let's just to clear things up. If I were to say all animals experience bad, would that make sense with your description of the word bad? Like I I'm still not understanding in what sense you're using the term bad. Whether it's a
No,
normative
I'm not
claim.
saying bad. No, I'm not saying that bad and suffering are interchangeable. I'm not here to,
Okay.
change the
So it's a
words
normative
of
claim.
English. No, I'm not saying that, I'm not here to change the words of English. I'm just saying, like, I'm just talking like a normal person. That's it.
Okay, that just confuses me further. So if I were to say
That wasn't
all
from the beginning.
so if I were to say all animals experience bad, that wouldn't make sense to you. But if I were to say all animals experience suffering, which is bad, that would make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're using the word bad in a normative
Yeah.
sense.
Because, I mean, like, in English, it doesn't make sense. Like,
Well, no, it
that's it.
does, depending on how you're defining the word bad.
So
Like,
if I go and say like animals experience bad, nobody is going to understand it. So I'll
well,
say that
if you
all
explain
animals
yourself,
experience suffering.
so
Yeah.
if I were to say pineapple equates to bad, those two terms could be used interchangeably.
Again,
Then,
you are talking about the you are talking about a personal preference, right? So you are talking about that kind of okay. I don't like the taste. That kind of bad. You cannot seriously compare that with what a chicken is going through in a farm or what a woman is going through at the hands of a rapist or what a starving kid is going through. Pineapple pizza and victims of suffering are not the same.
okay,
I don't know how
there.
you are even equating. Okay, pineapple pizza is a preference, so raping someone is also a preference. How
Yes,
can
they're
you
all
go to that
preferences.
conclusion? How can you go to that conclusion?
So just because some preferences are universal, that doesn't make them objective.
So, okay, so basically, what you're trying to say is that what you're saying? Like, just let me catch you, right? So, are you saying that people have different moralities?
Yes, clearly. I mean, there's Muslims who
Clearly.
strap
So,
bombs to their chest and think they're doing something good.
is that what you are saying, or are you saying that morality? Okay, there is a clear difference. People have different moralities, and morality can be subjective.
Morality is
Like what
subjective.
I'm saying that it shouldn't be like, you cannot say that, okay, it's like pineapple pizza. If you want to rape a woman, you rape a woman. If you want to, kill some animals, you kill some animals. I cannot agree with that. So
So,
are you saying that it should be a personal preference? Are you saying that it is a personal preference? So let's get this out of the way.
all moral claims are based on personal preferences. If they're not,
Okay.
then make an argument for that.
Okay, so that's what you're saying. Like, people who are claiming some moral claims. So this is what you're saying, right? People who are saying some moral claims, they are saying that because of personal preference, right?
Yes, all moral claims are based
That
on
that
personal
that I
preferences.
that I see. This thing I completely agree. But what I don't agree is whether they should be making it. They should be making it based on fact. They should be making it based on suffering. So everybody knows
That's a
that
personal preference.
people have different morality based on different. If you take a religious person, his morality will be based around, not fapping, right? If you take a carnist, his morality will be around, killing animals. If you take a vegan, he'll have a different morality. But the thing is whether it should be, right?
Uh,
So that's what I'm saying. So I am saying that suffering is negative is an absolute fact that you cannot deny. Okay. So I am not talking about whether people make moral claims out of personal preferences or not. Obviously, they make moral statements out of personal preference, and that is the problem, right? Obviously, someone like you exists, someone like a rapist exists, someone like Hitler exists, right? So I'm
none
not
of
denying that.
this,
I'm not a
dude.
moron.
You're just rambling. None of this has anything to do with the claim that moral claims can be objectively true. So what's the
No, no,
argument?
I'm saying that suffering is negative is an absolute fact. You cannot deny that. Raping a woman is bad. It's an absolute fact. You
What
cannot deny that.
what
And
do you
everybody's morality.
mean? What do you mean by bad?
What do I mean by bad? An undesirable event that you want to avoid, some pain that you want to avoid, some uncomfortable thing that you want to avoid. So basically, suffering.
Okay, so if you're going to
I'm not talking
say
about. I think. What I'm trying to say is, uh, what I'm trying to differentiate between pain and suffering is that suffering is a sort of a pain or an uncomfortable situation or a negative experience that you want to avoid. Is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking
right,
about the quality bad.
so
I'm not talking about personal preferences. I'm not talking about anything.
yeah,
If a child gets raped, it is bad. It's an absolute fact.
yeah, so there's a difference between saying sentient beings do not want to suffer and then saying suffering is bad. Bad, so by saying suffering is bad, that's a normative claim and that's based on a personal preference.
Okay,
There's no
so
objective basis to say suffering is bad.
okay. So the thing is, suffer. So sentient beings are the only conscious living beings, right? They are the only ones who can experience anything in this world, right? So obviously, so it doesn't make sense to say that, okay, it doesn't even make sense for me to think about a rock. I think about sentient beings. So if
I,
sentient
I
beings
I'm
want to
done with the
avoid something,
rambling. I
they
don't
will
care
ban.
about the rambling. Look, make an argument for the claim that it is objectively true that suffering is bad. Make an argument.
I already made it.
You didn't. You just made a
I
series of statements. Those aren't arguments. So an argument has a
I
set of
told you,
premises
sentient
and a
being.
conclusion.
Do you want to be stabbed?
Yeah, so you're asking me about my own personal preferences. So again, if you're
No,
going to
yeah.
claim it is objectively true that suffering is bad, then make an argument for that. Make a set of premises that lead to a conclusion.
Yes. So the thing is, if you take something like stabbing, if you take suffering, the basic definition of it is that you want to avoid it. So that is true for any sentient being.
Yeah, so that's a
If
universal
you don't
claim, not
want
an
to
objective
wait,
claim.
wait, wait. Just a sec. So if you don't want to avoid it, it does not come under suffering. So if you are into BDSM, so I am not into BDSM. Let's say you are into BDSM. If somebody spanks me, it's bad. If somebody spanks you, it's not bad. So sorry, vice versa. So if somebody spanks me, it's bad, and if somebody spanks you, it's not bad because you're into BDSM, right? So, but the thing is, suffering. If I say the word suffering, what I mean is that some kind of pain or uncomfortable negative experience that you want to avoid. So I'm saying this. So this is what the confusion is from the beginning. When I say rape, I mean that rape is the definition, like it happens without consent. It's bad for everybody. So I can say that it's bad. It's as simple as that.
That
So I'm
is
just
not an
defining it.
argument. So
Okay.
the claim you made is that
I don't. No,
you're
no.
making a very specific claim. You're using specific words like objective. If you're going to
Okay.
claim it is objectively true that suffering is bad, then make an argument for it. All you're doing is saying sentient beings have a preference not to suffer. That's not an argument.
Okay.
So make a set of premises that lead to a
Sentient,
conclusion.
sentient beings have a preference not to suffer. So, okay. So, are you saying that, uh, like, my preference, okay, I'm getting raped, I'm trying to run away from it, is the same as having a preference between pineapple pizza and
Yes.
that's what you're saying.
Yes.
So it is the same.
Yes. The
So an
consequences may be
intense
different.
suffering, so an intense suffering and a um, a choice between a pizza. So basically what you are comparing is, so I have a preference, right? I have a preference for blue color, so I want to buy a blue shirt, right? So you are saying that it is the same as me saying that, okay, if I want to prefer to choose to kill an animal or
Yes, the consequences may be different, but they're all based on preferences.
okay. So everybody can, if I prefer to, I can rape someone, I can kill animals. If I prefer to, I can do it, right? So there is no base for morality, and I can do anything I want. But you are still a vegan activist who somehow wants to save animals, and you
Yes,
somehow
that's
expect
because I
me
have a
to do
personal
this.
preference for that.
Oh, so because of vegan gains personal preference, people should go vegan.
Yes, a
So
lot of
I
people have the
personally,
same set of
so that's
preferences.
so that doesn't seem like reasoning at all. So for this long, you were asking me for arguments, and you don't even have reasoning and argument for what you believe in. It's like, okay, I have a personal preference. I'm a vegan activist, so you should also go vegan. So
So,
I have
this
a strong,
has
so
nothing
when
to
I talk to
do with the
people,
claim you
I
made or
have
the
a strong
topic of the
reasoning.
debate.
I tell them, okay, okay, animal suffering is bad. Something is happening out there. It deserves to be stopped. I give them a reason. Your reason is basically I prefer it. So you prefer,
That's the
so you might
same
prefer
argument you're
pineapple.
making.
So I can argue the same thing against you, right? So you might prefer a pineapple pizza. So you are telling me that I should also eat a pineapple pizza. That's what you are telling me. If you are telling me to go vegan.
Again, what is the objective basis for your claim that suffering is objectively bad?
Yeah, let's come to your thing, right? So I'm just getting it clear. So answer me this question. So The thing is that
I don't have to
human
answer
beings
any
prefer.
goddamn questions. You're the one making the claim. So if you're going to claim it is objectively bad for animals or any sentient
I'm
being to
saying
suffer, then what's the
no.
argument?
I gave you a lot of arguments because sentient beings are all
You
that
didn't
matter.
give me
I
arguments.
don't
You
think
gave me a
a
series of
rock doesn't
statements.
matter. A rock doesn't matter. Sentient beings are conscious living beings who have the capability to suffer. They are the ones that matter, right? Their preference to not suffer, their suffering, that is bad. That needs to be eradicated. It's as simple as that. I
That
gave
is a
you an
statement.
argument.
That's not an
So
argument.
basically, what you are saying is that I prefer pineapple pizza. So everybody should prefer pineapple pizza. I prefer veganism. Everybody should prefer veganism. So that's what you're saying. No, there is no valid reason for anything. So if a
You
rapist prefers to rape, he can do rape activism,
Yeah,
right?
so you're basing your own moral values on your personal preference that you don't like suffering. You gave no objective basis for why
I
suffering is
know
bad.
nobody likes suffering. I already defined
That's
suffering as something that you
so
want to
just
avoid.
because
No,
everyone
nobody
doesn't
likes
like
suffering.
suffering, that doesn't make it
Suffering,
objective. That's
suffering
just a
is
universal claim.
universally bad.
Do you understand the difference between
Universally bad.
objective and universal?
But
Do you understand the difference between
for
objective and
everybody, it's bad.
universal?
For everybody, it's bad. Every sentient being
Yeah, do
who
you
have the
understand the
capability to
difference
suffer,
between
it is bad.
objective and
That is
universal? Do you
universal.
understand the difference between objective and universal?
Um, Define it.
Objective means it exists without the presence of a mind. Universal means it applies universally. So if you say all sentient beings prefer not to suffer, that's a universal claim, not an objective claim. The argument
Okay.
you're trying to make is that suffering is objectively bad, not
Okay.
universally bad.
So okay.
So you made an argument that relies on the idea of
It's
something
bad.
being universal, not objective.
I still don't get the difference. I don't know why I need. I still
Do
don't
you
know why I need to know
so
all these philosophical terms.
do you understand what objective and subjective means?
Yes, I know. Like objective means it is not subject to personal feelings. So I already told you,
That's
right?
not what
So if you
objective
are saying
means.
that if you are saying that morality is different, morality is subjective right now.
Yeah, so
I am
that's not what objective means.
totally on
So
point with you. So I already told you.
why are you using these specific terms when you don't even know what they mean?
No, I'll tell you, right? So if you are saying that morality is subjective, I already told you. If you are saying that morality is subjective, right now people believe in different moralities. They give rise to moralities because of their personal preferences. I agree with you. But I am saying that suffering is a universal fact. My point is that
Yeah,
from the
it's
beginning,
universal, not objective.
yeah, so it is okay, it is universally bad. So my point is that everybody's morality should be based on suffering. It's as simple as that. So it's
Okay,
the only bad thing.
that is
There isn't any other bad
completely
thing.
different
So,
than
so I am giving a reasoning for my argument. It's as simple as that. So it's the only
so
bad thing. So morality, I think morality we can define it as being about good and bad, right?
So the proposition you made for the debate was that pro-extinctionism is an objective moral truth. Now you're saying it's not an objective moral truth. It's just universally true that all sentient beings view suffering as
See,
bad.
I
But
am
now you're
saying
making,
that.
and now you're
I'm
making.
saying that. Okay, so okay. Let's come to with or without a mind, right? So,
Okay, do you or
okay. What's your
wait? Do you agree with the initial proposition you made? Was that
okay?
there
So
are
okay,
objective moral truths?
what?
Do you agree with the initial proposition you made that there are objective moral truths?
Come again?
Do you agree with your initial proposition that there are objective moral truths?
I do.
Then what the fuck are you talking about?
Let me complete, right, with or without a mind also. Let's talk about it. So the thing is that uh,
I don't want to hear any fucking rambling, okay? What is
okay.
what is the argument for there being objective moral truths?
that's what I'm saying. Like it's based on suffering. Suffering is absolutely negative.
Yeah,
It's a negative event
make
that needs to be
yeah, great,
that needs
great.
to be
That's just a statement. Make an argument
okay.
for it being an objective moral truth that suffering is bad. Make an argument for that.
Make an argument for suffering being, that's the definition of suffering, right? Again,
Make
you're
an
just playing with
I'm no. Make an argument for the proposition that suffering is objectively bad. That's the proposition you made.
see, with or without you, right? So somebody who is suffering, right? They are going to experience a negative event, which is bad. They don't want to experience it. It's as simple as that.
This isn't an argument. You're just saying this is no different
It's
than
not
me
a
saying, "Well, pineapple on pizza is bad." Why is it bad? It's bad. It's pineapple. It's just
pineapple.
bad. This isn't an argument. This is a
Pineapple.
statement. Do you know what an argument is?
Again, and a sentient being is not equal to a pineapple.
I don't fucking care. You didn't make an
You don't fucking
argument.
care. That you have made it clear from the beginning.
I don't care about any of this crap. Make an argument.
So yes, that is moral
That's
nihilism, right? You
not
don't
an
care about
argument.
me.
You just made a statement. All you said is suffering is
This is
bad. That's
moral
not an
nihilism, right?
argument.
You don't care about any of the crap because it's not happening to you.
No. You made a
Yes,
specific
yes.
claim, and if you're going to make a specific claim, it has to be supported with an argument. So make an argument
When
for it.
okay. If you are suffering, should I help you or not? You want to avoid it. Again,
Questions aren't propositions. Questions
don't
aren't
no, no,
propositions.
don't tell me that crap where you say that it's a personal preference. Maybe I don't want to get help because
Make an
I
argument.
made it
Make
very
an
clear.
argument. Make an
I made
argument. Make an argument.
I made it very clear, right, from the beginning that suffering is something that you want to avoid. So it's a negative event. You're a sentient being, right? It's a negative event. It's as simple as that. It's a negative event. It needs to
That's
be stopped.
not an argument. An argument has a set of premises that lead to a conclusion. If I were to just
Yeah.
say pineapple is bad, why is pineapple bad? Well, it's just pineapple. That's the way it is. That's not an argument.
Is the same thing. Is the same thing I need to ask you. Like, why you should be the one answering that as a moral nihilist? You should be the one answering. You are saying that okay, if I don't like pineapples, everybody should hate pineapples. Is what you are saying. So, as a vegan activist, that is what you're saying. I prefer veganism. I am doing activism for it, right? So,
None of this
everybody should
has
prefer
anything
veganism.
to do
So
with the proposition you
that's your
made,
reason.
so make an argument for the proposition.
I made an argument.
You didn't make an
I don't even
argument.
have to make. So like if I just come over there and chop off your limbs, would you be like, okay, make an argument?
Questions aren't propositions.
It's bad. That's it. Finished.
That's not an argument.
Finished. It's bad.
That's not an
It's a
argument.
fact.
That's not
It's
an
a fact
argument.
that sentient beings are suffering. Suffering of sentient beings is bad. It's an absolute fact.
That's not an argument. So
So it's
you
not
only
an
have
argument. So you don't recognize what is a negative event, like what is undesirable, why we want to avoid suffering, what is suffering. You basically have no understanding.
the
Is what you're saying.
proposition you
So
made
because
is that
see,
it's an
the thing
objective
is,
moral truth that suffering is bad. What is the argument
yeah,
for that claim?
I told you. Again and again, I keep telling you that
No,
is the thing. Like,
all you said was
it's a
suffering
fact.
is bad,
And
therefore it's bad. That's not an argument.
if you rape a woman, it's bad. It's not. It's a woman. It's not a pineapple pizza.
That's not an argument for the proposition.
No, you are making from the beginning. You are making a wrong comparison. Comparing a pineapple pizza, comparing
That's
personal
not an
preferences
argument.
with suffering. With suffering, that is a wrong thing to do, because suffering everybody wants to avoid it. Every sentient being who is suffering wants to avoid suffering. It's bullshit that you said that somebody wants to get raped, because the definition of rape is that you don't want it, because it's the word, that's it. It's as simple as that.
Well, no, that's not the
You don't
definition of
want it.
rape.
It's objective.
That's not the definition of
Every
rape.
suffering is bad and it deserves to be eradicated.
So, first of all, that's not the definition of rape.
So
Rape is defined with sexual intercourse without the ability to give enthusiastic consent.
yeah,
Or
without
sorry,
consent.
knowledgeable
So
enthusiastic consent.
you don't want it. It's as simple as
Well,
that.
no, it's not defined as you don't want it. It's that you are unable to
Okay,
give
so
informed
no,
enthusiastic
no,
consent.
no.
So a
If you want
14
it, if
so
you
a
want it,
14
if you
shut up,
want
shut
it,
up, shut
if you
up,
are into
shut up,
something,
shut up.
if you want
Shut
it,
up.
you shut
Shut
up.
up, quiet.
Shut.
A
No, if you want
12-year-old
it,
might want to have sex
if
with an
you
adult. That doesn't mean it's not
if,
rape, you idiot. The definition of
no,
rape
no,
is
just
is sex without informed
yeah,
enthusiastic consent.
bro. If you want to get raped, if you are into some I don't even want to talk about this, because like you are just dissecting some intense suffering and you are making a mockery out of it with your wordplay. Okay, but let me make it very clear to you one last time. So the thing is that if you want to get raped, if you are into some kind of BDSM shit, right? So let me put it very clear for you.
I
It's
don't
not
fucking
suffering.
care. I
I'm
don't
only
fucking
talking
care.
about
I don't
suffering.
care. Make an
It's
argument for the
you
proposition.
don't care. You
I
don't
don't
care.
care.
You say
Make an
that
argument for the proposition. I'm not here to just listen to you ramble.
I
Make an
made an
argument for the
argument. It's an
proposition.
absolute fact that suffering exists,
Yeah, we
and
agree.
it's an
Suffering
absolute fact
exists.
that
The argument is whether or not it's objectively bad, so make
everybody
an
wants to
argument for the
avoid suffering.
proposition.
It's an absolute fact, and it needs to be eradicated.
Make an
So the thing is
argument
that
for the proposition. You said it's objectively bad. Make an argument for that proposition.
make an argument for the proposition. I made it.
No, you
Again, I'm
didn't.
saying
You just said it's
I made it.
bad. That's not an argument.
It's bad. Okay, let me put it like in a kindergarten level for you. Like, you know what is bad? Like, if I take a big knife, chop off your arms, you will get a feeling, right? That is defined as bad. It's as simple as that. So everybody knows
That's
the difference between quality
that
bad
is
and
not an argument for
quality
the
bad and
proposition.
suffering kind of bad.
That is
Everybody knows
not
the
an
difference.
argument for the proposition. The proposition you made is that suffering is
So
objectively
your
bad.
basic,
Do you understand what
so
objective means? Do you understand what objective means?
objective is defined as something that is not subject to personal opinion.
Okay, objective means independent of a mind.
Okay.
So, can you make an argument independent of any mind that suffering is bad?
If mind doesn't exist, there is no suffering, right?
Okay,
So how can I
that
say
doesn't
that?
matter.
How can I make the
That
how can I
doesn't
make
matter. It does not relate to the
that doesn't
proposition. The proposition is
no,
that suffering is
I
bad,
don't
not that
no I
suffering
don't
exists. We both agree that suffering exists. What I'm
okay.
asking you to do is prove that suffering is objectively bad.
If mind is not there, suffering doesn't exist, right? So
We're not
what are you
talking about
trying
the existence of suffering. We're talking about whether or not it is objectively true that suffering is bad. So again, make an argument
So
for the proposition.
without a mind, how can I say that suffering is bad? Because suffering itself exists in the mind, right? It exists in your brain. So without a mind, how can I say that?
proposition is that suffering is bad,
So
not that
okay,
suffering
let's say
exists.
that
So
okay.
you're saying it's a... Oh my
Okay,
god.
let's say that there is no humans. There are only animals, right? So still their suffering is a negative event. Yes or no?
That depends on whatever your personal preferences are.
That depends on my personal preference. Okay, cool. Okay, so basically your argument is if you want to rape, you rape. Your preference is torturing someone, you torture. If you want to experiment on
Has
animals, you
nothing
experiment.
to do with the
I have
proposition
a
you
personal
made.
preference that
That
I
has
have a
nothing
personal
to do with the
preference that I
proposition you made. That has nothing to do with the proposition. So again, you claimed it is objectively true that suffering is bad. So make an argument for the proposition.
make an argument. I don't think there is any point in dragging this on.
Okay,
I think
so
there is
you can't
there
make an
is no
argument.
argument. There is no argument. There is no need to even argue because like that's the basic definition. That's it. So, some
Okay,
event that is
right.
happening.
Big brain
Okay, for
take. I can't make
animals,
an argument, but I'm
suffering is
right.
happening. It's bad. That's basic definition. I think you are
Yeah.
just doing some work.
No,
That's it.
no. I think you need to, like, just stay out of philosophy. This is just idiotic. If you're gonna make specific,
No,
if you're gonna make specific
I think
claims,
that
those
I think
claims need
that
arguments to
no,
support them. People aren't
I
just
think
going
that
to agree with you. So I
philosophers
don't know
are
why
just
you
some
agreed to debate me when you don't
philosophers.
understand any of these
You
fucking
don't even
concepts.
need you don't need philosophers to say that rape is bad.
Well,
You don't need
sure,
philosophers.
you don't need anybody to
Because
tell you about your own personal preferences, but if you're going to make specific claims that
it's
suffering
not
is
a personal
objectively
preference.
bad,
It's
then
a
yes,
fact
you
that
need to have
it's
a
a
little bit
fact.
of an understanding of philosophy.
No, nobody needs to have understanding of anything to say that
Right.
raping a
I can
woman
be a fucking moron.
is
I
a
can know
different.
nothing about
Nobody
any
needs to have
topic.
any
I can know
understanding to
nothing
say
about
that
philosophy, but I'm going
that
to
too.
waste somebody's time in a
And
philosophical debate about moral
nobody.
realism.
So
Right.
you
I
people
don't need to
there is
know
too much.
anything. I don't need to support my arguments with any kind of evidence or reasoning. I can just say things and
Evidence,
people are supposed to
you,
believe me.
evidence is before you. Suffering exists. You said that, and nobody wants to experience suffering.
That's
That is a
great.
fact
That's
that
great. That
doesn't
has
happen.
nothing to do with your proposition. So you can... Are you done rambling? Do you want to leave now?
Yeah, I think there is no point
Okay.
because
Bye. Take care.
the thing is, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Good
Leave.
luck with your
Thank you.
good
You
luck with
wasted about an
forcing
hour of my
everyone to
time.
eat
Thank you.
pineapple pizzas.
That's great. Bye bye.
Good luck. Yeah.
What a fucking jackass. Oh my god. That went about as well as I expected it to go. What a fucking asshole. I don't need to... I don't need to know anything about philosophy. I don't need to understand anything. I don't need to know words. I could be a dum-dum and you're supposed to just agree with me. Fucking jackass. Shahidka donated $2. I've sent you a friend request on Steam for roughly 2 years now. Any chance you can finally accept it? I really want to see that game library. My user... Shahidka. How do you see friend requests? There you go. Thanks for the donation, dude. Yeah, that was absolutely retarded. So basically, he had no argument for his claim. He literally thought that he could debate moral realism without any understanding of philosophy. He didn't even understand the definitions of the words he was using. And he just expects you to agree with him because... That was one of the best debates I've ever fucking had. Well, I'll be streaming again in a few hours. So I'll see you in a few hours for the normal kind of everyday stream. I hope you all had fun. Take care.